Welcome to our 2023 Give the Gift of V.Mora Black Friday special. I am your host, Allison Howmann, and I am going to be guiding you through our two amazing offers that we have here at V.Mora for Black Friday. V.Mora is a fashion consulting and development company. We help new designers launch their very first fashion collection and existing designers streamline and scale. We've worked with so many different types of brands, including brands that are centered around dog clothes, children's wear, handbags, menswear, and even intimate apparel. Our goal is to help designers launch a collection and navigate the manufacturing process with ease. The theme for our Black Friday this year is Give the Gift of V.Mora, because if you know someone special in your life who wants to start a collection, we encourage you to inspire them to follow their passion. These two products are great for beginners or for those looking to dip their toes into the launching phase. We are offering a book and a course for 50% off only for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So without further ado, I will have Livermore take it away with more information from our best-selling book, The Foolproof Plan to Kickstart Your Clothing Line.
Hi designers, I'm Livermore, founder of V.Mora, and this is our weekly live. So thank you guys for joining me today. We have some very, very exciting news to tell you about today. We are offering a Black Friday sale on the book I wrote. So I'm going to run you through what is in this book, why it's so essential to the beginning designers. It's a great gift, and we're running it at 50% off. So the 50% off code is BLKFRI50. So we're running 50% off on our website for this book. And I'm going to run you through what is in the book, why it's so important, why I wrote the book, why I'm qualified to write a book about launching clothing lines. But first, I wanted to just talk about why I wrote the book. So I've been helping designers launch clothing lines since 2008. And there is a set of steps to go through. And in order to go through them and reasons why you, the reasons why you don't want to skip these steps. The code is BLKFRI50, so Black Friday 50. So the reasons that it's so important, there's steps that can make or break your production, meaning if they're skipped, if you don't know to take them, or someone tells you they're not important, then you can have a production and it's not right. And that's ultimately the very, very worst thing that can happen to a new designer. You're on a tight budget. You need to make those sales. The production has to be something that you can sell. And in order to do that, there's really important steps along the way that will get you to that perfect production. So in talking with all these new designers, the hundreds of thousands of new designers, and telling them over and over, like why it's important to do a size check run, why it's important to do a wash test. All of these things I've learned the hard way. So, not doing a wash test, meaning you don't pre-wash your fabric to see if it shrinks. You don't, everything that you're going to plan to do to your fabric in the production, you should also do in the sampling process, down to ironing. I've seen fabric that the purple color shrank when heat was applied, but the teal color did not. And we couldn't figure out, the client had us come in after the production was already done, and we couldn't figure out why all the purple garments were shorter than the blue garments. They were cut together. It was a huge mystery, but then we saw when heat was applied to one, it shrank. When it was applied to the blue, it did not. So That goes for different colors, different fabrics. If you've already done the production before, but you're switching the fabric, you still need to do those wash tests. So basically, I'm like explaining these steps over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And I was like, you know what? I really need to put this into writing, put it all in the book so that not only do you know what steps to take, but you know what the steps are and why they're important. And being working with so many designers over the years, not only does it give me the authority to kind of write these steps, but I also have the vendors to complete the steps. I am, my team is every day on the ground talking with the factories. You know, if there's new fabrics, new trends, like we're right there on the forefront in the industry doing these steps every day. So I'm not just like talking about and teaching, we're actually doing the steps for our designers every day. And I went to fashion design school and it was great. I had a lot of fun. We learned to make really beautiful garments, but we didn't learn how to own a business and how to make it profitable. So again, that's why this book is important. It's a really great gift too if you are looking to purchase something for someone that you know wants to launch a fashion line. Like this is always the very first step I suggest. And we have a bunch of testimonials of people that have read the book on the website. But I thought it would be fun to just read out the chapters of the books. So even if you are not going to purchase the book or you're on the fence about the book, if you listen to the steps and take notes on the steps, you are ahead of the game. That's at least going to tell you what you need to do. You can research and find out what the steps are, but I thought it would be fun to walk you through, I think there's 41 chapters, which each chapter in this book is a new step, and you can take notes. And then if anyone has any questions, I can go over one of the steps, or I can pick one of the steps and kind of read that chapter to give you an example of what it looks like. This book too, when you purchase it, you'll get a actual hard copy, but then you'll get the digital copy too. The digital copy is useful for, we've got a lot of links and examples and vendor referrals. So it'll link you to those people, whereas in here it's, you know, just a website. All right. So if anyone has any questions, just let me know. Again, the code is BLKFRI50. Okay, so I'm just going to read you guys the steps, and this will give you what steps to take and when. So if you follow the order, and this is like actually what you have to do every single time. So number one is the fashion line mindset and what to expect. So what you should do to prep before you jump in, knowing your customer market, knowing your timeline, knowing your end retail price as a goal, because all of those things, like while you can say, I want to sell a product for $60, it all comes into play and falls into line. So as you're sourcing, as you're talking to vendors, all of those things you should have a plan for before jumping in. So like you don't end up doing the costing on your product and then being like, oh my gosh, this is a $5,000 t-shirt. And it's because I don't know, put diamonds on it or something, and you were wanting to sell it for $60. So then you want to do your mood boards, then timeline, develop your styles, your size chart, fabric sourcing, your branding, pattern making, prototyping, hiring a fit model, fitting, developing your care labels, doing your final sample, creating your tech pack, digitizing and grading your patterns, markers and yields, production quoting, size check run and fitting, establish production run numbers, production, packaging, and your next season, and then fulfillment. So those are the steps that you'll take from start to finish. So I'll give you guys a second if anyone has a specific question about any of those steps. I can go into it, but I have a good idea of what I want to cover. Okay, I am going to jump to the chapter called Markers and Yields, only because markers and yields seem to be like unknown. Not everyone knows what a marker is. Not everyone knows what a yield is, why it's so important, and why those markers are what actually creates your yields. So I'm going to skip to that chapter and take you through what markers and yields are. So page 79. Okay. So markers and yields. What are markers? Markers are a layout of your final pattern in all your sizes, organized in one long piece of paper in order to make use of as much fabric as possible when used for cutting. So I give an example of what a marker looks like here. Let's see if you can see that. So this is actually what the marker would look like. And it is the width of the fabric. So when you're working with your marker maker, they're going to need to know all of your fabrics, your linings, your interfacings, because this will get laid down on each one of your interfacings, your linings, and your fabric. So each fabrication has its own marker. So if you have 3 different fabrics, or you've got a lining, a self, and an interfacing, you're going to need 3 different markers. And each marker, you want to utilize the fabric as best as possible so that you're not wasting fabric. So it is important that you have a marker maker that is good, because saving you 10% of your fabric for a production of 1,000 units can be thousands of dollars. So having a marker maker that can really utilize the fabric and waste as little as possible, and then even tell you, maybe there's a way that if something was cut a certain way, or if a pattern changed slightly, it could save you a lot of fabric. They'll come back and make suggestions on that. But this is what markers are. And it will be the width of the fabric. So if the fabric is 45 inches, so is the marker. If the fabric is 56 inches, so is the marker. So this is what a marker is. And then we're going to get into yields. And until you have created this marker, you don't know what your yield is. Your yield, sorry, I'm going to take a sip of water. So your yield is exactly how much fabric that you're going to need to create this garment. Is the marker maker the same as the pattern grader? That's a great question. No, not always. It is the same system. So whether it's Gerber or OptiText, like these are all the digital systems that digitize the pattern. So if your paper pattern is made, it's then digitized, then it's graded. And from grading, you will do your size check run and you'll print out plot outs. So until the pattern's perfect, you want to avoid making markers. So now you can see why I chose markers. It's like one of the most complicated because you can't do it by hand. You can. Correction, you can. They obviously used to draw these markers out by hand, but it is not efficient at all. So the first, you've got your block pattern and it's digitized. And then that's graded based off of your size chart, which you've created. it's like step 3 here is your size chart. So from your size chart, they then will grade your patterns. Say it's between a small and medium, medium and large, large and extra large. It's a 2-inch grade. Maybe it's a 3-inch grade between the large and the extra large, depending on the size chart you've created. They make the other sizes. Then you do plot outs, which just means you're printing out the size small, the size medium, the size large individually. You're going to cut them and sew them to make sure that that grading is done perfectly. And then you're going to create your marker. So the marker then is the grader grades the patterns, makes the different sizes, and then the marker maker will take those different sizes and put them onto the marker. So like a lot of times it's the same person that is doing the system, but if you're using like a large company that does digitizing and grading and marker making, they have specific people that this person just does grading, this person just does marking, but it's all under the same house. So to you, it seems like it's the same person, but it is slightly a different skill set. So it's not always the person that does your grading, does your marker making. Does that answer your question? So once you have the marker created, you will then have the exact yield that it takes to create that jacket or a pair of pants. The person that's created the marker can give you those exact measurements. So it'll be 1 yard and 12 inches, which is 36 inches plus the 12 inches. So you convert it into the inches and then how many, you'll then know exactly how much fabric you're going to need for production if you're making 100. They'll also give you, it'll be so exact that you'll get a yield for your extra small, your medium, and your large, and they'll all be different, right? Because it takes more fabric to make an extra large than it does to make the small. But if you're making about the same size or about like the same amount of smalls as you are extra large, you can use the medium. So using the medium size for your yield to order all your fabric for your production. Now, if you're only going to be making 1 extra large to 3 extra small, then the medium won't be as perfect, but it'll be close enough. So depending on like how exact you want to get, you could say for me to make 3 extra small, 3 medium, 3 large, and 1 extra large, it takes X amount of fabric, and I'm making 100 cuts of that, meaning you're going to have 300 small, 300 medium, 300 large, and 100 extra large. So you can times it by the amount. It's all math and probably getting way too involved right now, but you can figure out the exact yield by doing that, or you can just use your medium size, take that as your yield and order your production. So this number is also what is used for your costing. You go back to your costing and it'll give you your final cost of goods. So how much your fabric has costed per unit with the interfacing. With my clients, we always do like an estimate up front. So when we're ordering the fabrics, making the samples, we have an estimated number for the yields. And clients a lot of times are like, how much exactly? Tell me what's the yield. Tell me what my final price is going to be. And it's like the chicken and the egg, right? Until we have your perfect pattern, we've done your size check run, we've confirmed off all your patterns, we have the exact width of all your fabrics. Side note, with the width, make sure it's the cuttable width, not the actual width, because there's usually like on the edges of fabric, there's the selvage. So you have to subtract that selvage from the width. So when you're working with a marker maker, make sure you give them the cuttable width of the fabric, not the actual width of the fabric. Yes. So after the marker is created, that's when we'll get the exact yields. and be able to plug those into the costing and the budget and all of that. But until we have those yields, there's no way for us to get an exact yield per unit, because we don't know that until the marker is made. Like you might have a skirt panel and it's, a yard long, but we can't fit a front and the back on the same width of the fabric. So we have to do the front and the back below. But the marker maker might come to us and say, hey, if you made this skirt 2 inches slimmer, we could fit the front and the back together, saving you a entire yard per skirt. So that's just like an example of like why until that marker's made, you won't have that yield number. So yields and markers. Again, this book runs you through every step and then gives you examples, tells you why those steps are important. So this is the Foolproof plan to kickstart your clothing line. And if anyone has any other questions on the book or any of the steps that I listed out, let me know, because I have some time. I can run you guys through other steps. But this is going to be a great gift for the holidays. We are running this sale until November 27th. And I'm just looking at my notes here. So yeah, the sale goes until the 27th. It's BLKFRI 50. And we can have this shipped directly to your friend, so you don't have to ship it to yourself. And then, like I said, you also get that digital copy. We also have, I'll read you guys one testimonial, and then you can go to the website. There's others. This is from Jill. I purchased the book, The Foolproof Plan to Kickstart Your Clothing Line, and finished reading the book the day that I purchased it. This book walks you through step by step the starting of a clothing line and how to be successful with your business. If anyone follows these steps in the book, chapter by chapter, you will definitely understand how to succeed with your fashion line. Thank you so much, Anna, for writing such a great book for us new fashion designers. Yeah, so that was really the point of why I wanted to write this book. It seems like such a daunting thing. Like, I want to start a clothing line, and I know that I want to have a product and I want to sell it, but there's a lot that happens from saying I want to have a clothing line to having a clothing line in your hand. And like I said, there's so many easy ways to make mistakes or skip a step and not realize it's important. Little things like forgetting to get your care labels until the factory is like, oh, we don't have your labels. Well, that's going to postpone your production because the factory isn't going to start till they have everything in hands, including the labels. So that's why getting your care label is like, let's see, labels is all the way up here in the steps, because we know that you have to prepare the care labels, have them delivered, design them, and then the production will not start until you have everything. So little things like that. This is why I created the book, just so that you guys would have the steps that you needed to take in the order you needed to take them, so that you could get a production and sell it. It is devastating when you have a production and say you had forgotten to do a size check run, or you skipped it because you wanted to save the money. So let's say you wanted to save the money on sample prices, because you do get charged sample prices for those size check run, and you go directly into production. I'm going to share some stories. It's as easy. Most of the time, the grading is always perfectly. I'd say 99% of the time. We're really great at grading. We've been doing it a really long time. So most of the time it's always perfect, but there is that 1% time that Like a number could just get pressed in wrong. And the sleeve, instead of being this long, is all of a sudden this long in your large. So you get back all of your larges and none of them are sellable. The wash test, the heat transfers. Sometimes, specific temperature and pressure has to be used with different fabrics for different heat transfers. So that has to be tested. The embroidery, like all of these things, it's really, really important. Just take your time for this first season. Don't skip any steps. Make sure that you've got the tech pack, your perfect sample, you've tested your grading, you've wash tested your product. It's just skipping steps isn't worth it in the long run. Like skipping the size check run could save you $1,000 because you don't have to pay that sample price, but it could cost you thousands of dollars depending on how large your production is if you've skipped that step. So it's like a risk reward. It isn't worth it. You want to make sure this first go at it, your production is perfect. And that means taking all the proper steps in the proper order. So yes, the code is BLKFRI50. And does anyone have any questions or comments? Maybe we have people that might have read the book that are on the call. You purchase this at our website, V.Mora.com. And yeah, I love to hear what you thought. If you read the book, you have any feedback, let me know. But my ultimate goal is just to help young aspiring designers to break into the industry and not feel so intimidated or scared. Like people keep all of these secrets behind this wall and they don't share it with you. They don't want to see other people's success, but I'm trying to do the opposite. Let's make it really clear. The book too is also, it's not overwhelming or intimidated. I tried to keep it very inspiring and easy to read. So you won't read this book, even though there are all these steps and things that, you don't know until you read. You won't walk away from this book feeling like, oh my gosh, there's so many steps, I'm never going to make it. The opposite. You'll read the book, you'll feel empowered, you'll know what steps you'll need to be taking, and you'll feel ready and prepared to move forward. So Black Friday sale, start your line 2024. And I'd love to hear your feedback. Thank you guys so much for joining me today.
Hello, everyone. It's your host, Allison Howmann. What did you think of that? A full guide to launch your collection. This is a go-at-your-own-pace book that is truly great for a beginner as it goes through the whole process to start a collection. This is a great gift for students that are going into design school or someone who has a passion for fashion and design. If you would like to purchase, click the link in the description and don't forget to use the code BLKFRI50. That's BLKFRI50 for 50% off at checkout. Now, that's not the only offer that we have today. We also have an online course. This is a more in-depth and great for an audio and visual learner. This course will help you get everything you need together to work with a manufacturer and ultimately produce your line. I will have Anna Livermore take it away with more details on this course. Let's jump in.
I am Anna Livermore from V.Mora, which is a company that helps launch fashion designers. We take everything from start to finish, patterns, samples, source fabric, help strategize with the production numbers, with social media, with launching, with marketing, all of everything that you're going to need from start to finish, we can help you with. Launching a clothing line seems daunting, and there isn't like a great place to go where everyone's like, oh, this is how you do it. No problem. I've built my company for the last 10 years, and I'm going to tell you everything I know about how to do manufacturing. Most designers, because it is such an uphill battle to find those pattern makers and sample makers and manufacturers that by the time that they've built this network, it's not something that they advertise. There's fear that the factory would get too busy and they wouldn't be able to take them, or they would miss deadlines. So it isn't something that people are outwardly sharing. So if you feel like everything's behind this locked door, that no one's giving you answers, that you're running into brick walls, like, you're not alone. That is actually the case. It also doesn't help that a lot of vendors, a lot of manufacturers, pattern makers, a lot of these contractors are, they've been working, the good ones have been in the industry since the 90s, since pre-internet, and they don't always have websites. They don't want to be listed publicly. The reason being is, if you're brand new and you don't know what it takes to manufacture a clothing line, it's hard because they're not necessarily going to want to work with you, because there is such a learning curve, and there's a lot that actually is your responsibility that you might think or assume is taken care of by the factory, when in fact it's not. And it's industry standard. And I'll get into those examples today while we're talking. But my goal is to help make that easier, to give you information, to provide you with my experience so that you know who to go to. And not only that by the time you use a referral that I've given you, because you've either worked with us or taken a course that I'm going to get into, you have the education around what you need to do to be prepared, so that they know you're serious, they see that you'll be successful, and they'll want to work with you. So some common challenges. Gosh, there's so many. Well, one is not being able to find the right vendors. That is totally not something that you're making up. Like, my favorite manufacturers, I have the Garment District Alliance being like, hey, will you talk to them and see if we are allowed to list them, if they'll please let us list them on our website or whatever these platforms are that are a place where you can get resources. And when I talk to the factories, they're like, no, we don't want to advertise. We don't actually want a lot of new designers coming in and wasting their time, per se. So a lot of the good factories aren't necessarily on those websites, have a website, or are easy to find. Another challenge is, if you do find the factory and you want them to work with you, you've got to know and be prepared. There is so many things before you are ready for manufacturing. So many things. And some of those things are essential to the success of your brand. And when you go to meet with the factory, you want to have all of that work already prepared, so that they see that you're organized, that you know what you're doing, that you know the terminology, that you are prepared. So yes, we do this with clients every single day. You can hire us to be your production managers, your tech designers, your pattern makers, your sample makers, all of that we can do for you. Or I've also created this course called the Production Qualifications Course. So what this course is set to do is teach you all of these steps, give you the templates, the examples, the blank templates, the checklists, and get this, the vendor list. So not only does the course say, hey, you need to source elastic, it'll say, here are my favorite elastic vendors. So it gives you the actual name. So I really feel strongly about not only providing information, but providing the contacts for being able to actually implement these steps. And being able to implement these steps is essential to being able to move forward, to create a clothing line. So this course is my full intention. You take the course. If you go ahead and you do all of the items in this course, like you fill out the templates, you do the checklist, you do all the work that this course provides, and you come to me and you say, Anna, I'm ready for a manufacturer. I will look at what you're doing and I will give you the name and I will make that first introduction to that factory for you. There is also a vendor list of my favorite manufacturers in there, but it always helps to have that one-on-one introduction, especially from V.Mora, because they know if I'm making the introduction, it's because you are prepared for production. So I'm going to get into, even if you don't take the course, you're never going to work with V.Mora, take notes on what this course provides, because this is going to be the key, the guideline, the checklist of when you are ready for production. So I'm going to run you through everything that this course walks you through, and that is going to be the key for what you need to do. Now, obviously, strongly recommend the course. It's going to walk you through what these things are, why they're important, why it's your responsibility, not the factory's responsibility, and then how to do it and who to do it with. So it is going to be amazing. Let me pull up those modules. So right now, this course is 4 videos, but the videos are really, really long. There's a ton of information. So we're going to see if we can break those up so we don't have like 4.5 hour long videos. I'm sorry, they're 1 to 1.5 hours each. So we're going to see if we can break them up. Right now it's 4, which is still great. You can stop and start. You don't have to do it all at once. But the first 2 modules takes you through all of the first steps of development. The 3rd module is prepping for production. And then the 4th module is production ready. So this is where you should take notes, because I'm going to run you through every single thing that these courses provide. So let me see if I can actually screen share. Those of you on Instagram will not be able to see my screen share, but if you log in to, well, let me see if I can even screen share. Yes, I can. Yes, I'm going to screen share. If you guys log into the LinkedIn or the Facebook, you'll be able to see the screen that I'm sharing, but it's basically like the back end of all the templates that you get for this course. So here is the module 1. We have templates for care labels. Your factory is not going to make your care labels. They aren't going to tell you what needs to be on your care labels. That is your responsibility to develop what you want on your care labels according to legally what you have to have on your care labels, and get them printed out and provide them to the factory. So care labels is your responsibility, not the factory's responsibility. Your fabric content, where it was made, from imported fabrics. If you have an RN number, all of this goes onto your care label. And in the course, I go into further detail. So care label template, and you know those little signs of like hand wash, machine wash, that no one really knows what those mean. I don't even know. And like, this is my job. It's a key for that too. So you'll know which ones that you'll need to put on. Croquis. So for your tech packs and your spec sheets, you'll work off of a croquis. I provide croquis for that. Fabric trim PO. So again, like you're going to order fabric. The fabric vendor is going to say, sure, submit a PO. I'm not going to lie. The very first time someone was like, yeah, send me a PO. I was like, what's a PO? It stands for purchase order. And I was like, don't you do that? No. Fabric vendors really appreciate if you fill out the information, you provide them with the order, you make sure your credit card information is on it. Anyways, we've got a sheet for that. We've got the fabric sourcing script. So when you're going to source fabric and you don't know what to say to these vendors, you can read off of this script. We have some tips for fabric sourcing. We have a list of fabric vendors. We have a pattern checklist. So if you're making your own patterns, there's a checklist of like what you need to do for what's important. We have a sourcing call log. We have a tech sketch checklist, trim order template, trim order PO, trim vendors, and then wholesale fabric trade shows. So that is just module 1. So module 1, that's why these courses are so long, because I have like 500. I like packed this. I was like, I literally want them to walk away and be like, yes, I got this. I have all the information I need. Cool. So that's just module 1. Module 1 has, let me just count. There's 12 handouts, 12 handouts, checklists, vendor lists in just that module 1. So that the first things that you want to do is you create your sketches and you start sourcing your fabric. So in that module, it gives you everything that you need. Factories domestically do not source fabric for you. If you're working offshore, they will source fabric. So this course is more set up for domestic production than it is offshore production, but it's not to say like I still recommend doing the development stateside because you have more control over it. You're able to make sure that it's perfect. I need some water. I'm talking really fast. I feel like I'm out of breath, but it's not my fault. I'm pregnant and getting out of breath early. So, and now is as good a time as ever to tell you guys that's what's going on. Okay, so module 1, offshore. It's more based for the domestic, but it's still a good idea to do your development here because you also will have your patterns within digital form in your possession. You will have all of this in your possession. And then you have this package. And after you take this course, this package can be sent offshore or it could be sent domestically. It can go anywhere you want because you control it, you have it, you own it, you've got it all like within your hands. So you can still take this course and do the development offshore. It's just slightly different, but not so different that the course would not be very, very valuable. All right, so module 2, these are for your next steps, which would be for your first patterns and your samples. This is where you'll be creating your tech pack. So your tech pack is a blueprint, and in the course, you'll get an example, how to do it. I walk you through line by line, what it means. Tech packs are not impossible. It's not brain surgery, but there is a standard language. There's a format. There's things that are expected to be in that tech pack that you provide to the factory. That's just industry standard. So we run you through all of that for patterns and samples. If you're not doing them on your own, you're hiring a pattern and sample. I'll walk you through like what you need to provide your pattern maker and your sample maker, because all of this is set up for your success. Like, what do you give a sample maker or a pattern maker so that your sample comes out properly, right? So running you through a checklist on that, making sure that you're providing everything to the sample maker and pattern maker so that you're as close as possible to your final product in that first fit. So in the first fit, totally normal. I always give like a warning that like prototypes are not samples. So they're not finished. They're not perfect. They don't look pretty. A lot of times they're made out of muslin. They're not made out of the actual fabric. And where was I? The patterns and the samples, the prototypes are not going to be pretty. They're not going to be perfect. 1971. Sorry. Thank you for the correction. Jay Abertman owns, he reps so many fabric lines. I think, is it like 17 at this point? Chicago Wholesale Fabrics. He has so many things. He has those elastics. He is on my list. He reps a ton of fabric vendors or fabric companies. So Jay Arbitman in Chicago is great. 9. So he reps 9 fabric companies, and they're all incredible. So hi, Jay. He has a website, which is great. And that was something that, really, I'm sure wasn't easy for him to do. But it's great. You still want to call him, but I'm sure he's familiar with like that fabric script that I have, because I literally tell people, like, when you call Jay, say this, do this. And it's really helpful because he knows, then you know what you're looking for. So back to the prototypes, don't expect perfection. You will have to do rounds of alterations. It does not mean your pattern maker is horrible or your sample maker is horrible. It's to be expected. You do want to plan for multiple rounds of prototyping and samples. It's just how it goes, no matter how great you're converting a 2D sketch into a 3D body. So just plan to have multiple rounds. So the module 2 runs you through like what a tech pack is, your spec sheet, tech pack terminology, so you're familiar with the terms that go on the tech pack. Module 3, this is prepping for production. So for this, it includes a cutter's must, digitizing and grading PO, and we go into all of that. If you saw, I think it was last week, I went into what markers and what a marker is and what all of those things are. So that'll be from last week. But markers and marker POs, obviously what a marker is versus a plot out, like what all of that is. That's also not always, it's normally not done by your factory. So this is also a separate vendor. I also give my manufacturing list in here. I give an example of what a marker looks like. So it's called a mini marker. So you get a visual for that. A production quote sheet, the size check run fitting notes, what a size check run is, why it's important. Please do your size check run. That can be done at your factory. It doesn't have to be done with your sample maker, but your size check run order form, and then your size check run worksheet to figure out your production numbers. So all of that is in module 3. And then module 4 is yields, how to figure those out, why they're important, what they are, and how to work those into your costing. The flow sheet, which is like our sheet for everything. It has everything in it. It has like been mastered and proven, and it's just like the one place to go that has everything that we need to get ready for production. So there's costing in there, there's budgeting, there's progress tabs, there's timelines, there's examples of timelines, there's the steps to take. You could probably just get this flow sheet and it would like give you almost everything that you need. So there's an example of that, and then a blank flow sheet, a production order PO, a yields calculator, so like a little cheat sheet on how to use the yields and how to convert them from, normally they're given to you in inches, you got to convert to yields so that you can order your fabrics. So all of that is in there. And then your production run checklist. So usually I would go through and like sum up all of that, but it was like so much. This is recorded. It'll be on the V.Mora. It'll be on LinkedIn and YouTube. So just rewatch it so I don't have to go through all of that. But Point is, it is packed with information, templates. Like, so this book here, also on sale for the Black Friday. This is where you start. Like, this one's like not scary. You're going to leave and be like, okay, I have the gist of it. It's going to give you an overview of what the steps, like, this is a good place to start. Productions qualification course is like, I am starting. Because if you're not ready to start, if you're not serious about starting a clothing line in 2024, it's going to be overwhelming. You know, the videos, I break it down, I make it very easy, but there's a lot of work. You know, it's buckle up, get ready, you're launching a clothing line. So the productions qualifications course would be the next step of first reading that book. So yeah, tons of tools, templates, everything you need. And for Black Friday, we are offering this at 50% off. So normally, I'm just confirming these prices to make sure that I give you the right price, but normally it's $480. But now through Cyber Monday, we're doing it 50% off. The code is the same for anything on the website. Is going to be 50% off. The code is BLKFR150. No, that's not correct. I'm sorry. I was like, why would it be 150? BLKFRI50. So you can have this course for $240 instead of $480. You can also gift it to someone if you know somebody is serious about launching a clothing line. And like I said, take the course, fill out the templates, do the checklist, have everything ready. And if you come to me and you're like, Anna, I want you to hand deliver a factory to me, it's going to be perfect. I will do that. But you got to do all the work and be ready and present it to me like you will be presenting it to these factories, because I just have to make sure that you're ready. Because if I were to just give out names of factories and then you guys go, my factories are going to call me and be like, hey, like so-and-so doesn't know what a tech pack is. How'd you send them to me if they don't know what a tech pack is? So the course is set up so that I can confidently give you a name of someone that can do your production. And I know that you're prepared, that you have everything that you need to work with them. And let's see, I have time for Q&A. So if anyone has any questions about the course, about anything at all in the course, if it includes something, if you wanted me to explain a step further, you can ask me now. Jay, do you have anything to add if you're still logged on? Okay, no questions. I also do a complimentary strategy session. So if you are wanting to do 20 minutes where we can go over specifically if this course is right for you, we can do that. You can book that on the website. How long will the course take to complete? Well, the course itself is about 6 hours. But like I said, there is a ton of work that goes into the course. So I would give yourself, like, if you officially do everything within the course, that would be including sourcing all of your fabric, doing your first patterns, doing your first samples, doing your digitizing and grading. Mind you, I give you resources for all of this stuff. I would say that would take 6 months. So the course itself is only, like I said, like 6 hours long. But in order to do all of the work that I'm teaching you, like this course will set you up for the first 6 months of launching your brand. So all of those steps, making your care labels, like those all take time. you've got to wait for them to be delivered. You've got to confirm, you've got to make the artwork. So I would say give yourself 6 months. So let's say you purchase this class, you start in 2024, you'll be able to launch your collection next year. So from start to finish, I always say you want to give yourself 9 to 12 months to launch your, to have production in your hands. So this gives you those initial steps. So yeah, probably 6 months to do all of the work that you are taught within this class. Jay says, great book, highly recommended, as it is the strategy. Thanks, Jay. I was going to read a testimonial from someone that took the course. I forgot. Okay. I love this client. He's great. He said, this live course with Anna is honestly an eye-opening experience for me. I highly recommend it, especially if you're struggling like I was, to get the ball rolling into the manufacturing department. So Bryce Ion, thank you for that. I'm glad that you took the course. But yeah, everyone has given me nothing but great feedback on both the book and the course. So if you have anything negative or positive after you take the course, let me know and I will address it. But yeah, like I said, everyone has really enjoyed the course. 50% off. And BLK FRI 50. This Friday or this sale will end on Cyber Monday. So be sure to take advantage of the sale. We don't normally do sales like this on the course. So, or on the book. This is actually the first sale that we've done on both of these, the sale and the book. I do sales when I'm in person at trade shows, but this has been our first online sale. So I don't know when we're going to do this again. So take advantage of it. And thank you for your time today, everyone.
Hello, everyone. I am your host, Allison Howmann, returning for the last section of our live stream. I just wanted to thank you so much for joining us this Black Friday. I hope you had such a wonderful time with your family, friends, and all your loved ones this week. For those who are looking to launch your line in 2024, there is never a better time than now. As you saw from our live stream, we have 2 amazing offers to dip your toes in the fashion industry. And if you would like to work with us one-on-one, we offer a free 20-minute strategy session. This is to get to know you a little bit and about your collection that you want to release, and to give you a fashion line game plan for your 2024 season. To get access to this, please click the link in the description for the strategy session or use the QR code on the screen. And with that,